Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is PixelRiffs, our writer is LoyXP. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. I'm back from my trip. So what happened while I was away? What do you mean everything? Well, I guess last week saw the soft launch of Decked Out, the return of Iskall and Stress Monster, the completion of several minigames, and the announcement of at least 20 more. So I guess that sounds like a lot even by Hermitcraft standards. But the season is gathering a real head of steam, because this week Zombie Cleo's Blood on the Clock Tower game makes its debut, the prospective Decked Out participants get to add their pieces to the starting squares, Doc M gets nerfed again, Cub Fans Museum finally has its grand opening, and Rendog goes all Disney villain. There is so much more to cover, so without further ado, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with Doc M77, whose recently rebuilt gravity block duplication system has been declared super illegal for egg cloning purposes. Luckily for him, he's already moved on to sand, because the walls of his perimeter are finally getting a makeover. Working with some builders from his community, the blank canvas at the edges of the perimeter starts to resemble a wall frieze of epic proportions, decorated with copper and patterns resembling his Hall of Goat. He might need some help connecting it to the surrounding landscape, but the hermits have already proven themselves capable of doing that.
Joe suggested, gather hermits and they will help you dig sand. Well, I'm not sure if that is a great plan. I mean, it's not like hermits have better things to do. No more sand duping, and we will have to somehow find other ways to get lots of sand.
Unfortunately for Doc, he might be facing another nerf after a server meeting calls the legitimacy of sand duping into question when there are so many others who faced the grind without the aid of game-breaking technology. And what better example than Cub Fan, whose museum opening Doc attends, if only so he can press some buttons and see what Cub has stolen this week.
Today, the 7th day of September 2023, we dedicate this Hermitsonian Museum of History and Culture, so that these memories are not only preserved in our time, but for all times.
While CubFan135 does expand his exhibits with free stuff this week, the diamonds for his Ore Pillar Memorial are actually hand-mined, lest we forget that there was a point in this season over a year ago when everyone decided to put their money into the attack position. The luckier ones will still get to expand their wealth behind a secret passage in the museum library, leading to an underground stat poker game room. The unluckier ones will end up in the live hermit display exhibit and become a part of exposition for as long as it takes to remember that ender pearls exist.
And yeah, then you are basically on display here. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? There's a cute little display here for people.
With that, the museum is finally complete and ready for its grand opening, which is both a red carpet and a red ribbon cutting ceremony, because decorating in Minecraft is very specific, okay?
It's a glorious place, and I hope you guys have enjoyed watching me make this over the last several days and weeks.
There's still time for last-minute submissions, and Pearlescent Moon is happy to trash-talk the hermits in a book she submits to Cub's museum. She even sneaks into the museum to hide it in an alleged chest monster among Cub's building supplies, only to be caught backstage by the curator and encouraged to hand it over in person.
Yeah, there's no chest monster here, yeah. I don't know what they're talking about.
No, not at all. Your voice makes me feel like there is one, Cub.
After cordoning off Doc's dragon egg duper and confiscating the rest of them in the name of that never happening again, she goes out in search of some armor trim that'll make her netherite armor a bit more cleaning lady official. Despite getting distracted by camels part way, she cleans up 2 ancient cities in search of the game's rarest smithing template and makes a ton of copies, even offering one to Corrales if he'll stop stashing shulker boxes inside his walls, which, if you ask me, feels like a small price to pay to buy her silence.
But aren't you proud, Pearl?
I am very
you
proud.
Be a little bit proud.
When you said done by the end of the season, I was like, okay, that's just you, like maybe.
I'm just kidding.
The noisier inhabitants of her base get some fancy new digs as she does a ton of landscaping and builds a Jurassic Park-inspired nature enclosure. Also, her sniffers can move in and snuffle about the place. But with them taking care of themselves, she sneaks off to her day job at Scarland and adds more modern conveniences to the janitor's office.
But we've also got this room off to the left here, which a few people mentioned could be a nice, staff break room, and I 100% agree.
Well, Scarland itself is about to be inconvenienced by the rise of competition. Rendog took one look at the covered up perimeter and decided this kind of behavior would not stand. So while Doc M re-explodes all the landscape to restore his pride and joy, Ren explodes a slightly smaller patch of land to make way for a Disney villain to rise. He plans to build a twisted, dystopian parody of the happiest place on Hermitcraft, dubbing it Scabland, and setting out its manifesto of making its corporate masters a profit at any cost. The cost in this case is figuring out how TNT duping flying machines actually work.
I mean, it probably would have taken me shorter amount of timeage to just cut the trees manually, but here at Scab Inc., we like to do things as expensive as possible and as inefficiently as possible. That's just how our company rolls, okay?
Meanwhile, at his icy racetrack, Full Symmetry is running laps, tying together the sitting area of the stadium. Whoever is expected to sit idly while the boats zoom by will at least be shielded from the storm snow under the convenient roof, and hot beverages are sure to be served in the VIP area up top. Also, there's a place under the rafters to hedge illegal bets, probably.
There's a little bar area. How cute is this? It's so cute.
Shifting our focus from the boat racetrack to go-karts, Joe Hills invites Good Times with Scar over to chat about the charity fundraising efforts from the Hermitcraft community earlier this year. The money donated to Gamers Outreach led to the creation of go-karts, providing some much-needed entertainment to hospitalized children across the United States, Canada, and Australia. And Joe chats about his recent visit to see them in action at a hospital local to him in Nashville, Tennessee. Appropriately enough, the Scarland ticket Scar drops by with does look like one of those giant checks people have at charity photo ops. And it's almost to scale with Joe's pinball machine project. Joe's next step is to make room for tokens himself, installing a coin tray which, after making the entire thing from black concrete, is basically a black hole. Very apropos for the space theme. But once Decked Out opens its doors for the Hermits to step in and personalize their own storage alcoves, Joe seizes the opportunity to bring back another project from the depths of space-time. Given that Tango was so taken with it previously, Joe revives the Guppy Geyser by installing a handful of dispensers and loading them up with shulker boxes of manually collected tropical fish, all deposited into a bubble column when activated by a nearby pressure plate. Of course, any of the fish flopping out of the column also activates the nearby pressure plate, so like many of Joe's projects, it has the potential to get out of hand very quickly.
They just face plant the ceiling and they die straight away?
Yeah.
This is making me real sad.
We can remove the pressure plates if it makes you feel
The
better.
floppy pancakes.
Okay.
Pearlescent Moon, Stress Monster, and Iskal also show up to decorate their decked out booths. Pearls has the Cleaning Lady palette plastered all over it. Stress's is the usual mix of magenta vibes, but also kinda goth, and Iskal's is incredibly on brand with the slime and the green fog effects. The aforementioned magenta vibes continue into the inside of Stress's spooky mansion build, which begins as a little more Barbie dream house, but after a floor redesign, some dark oak walls, and a deep slate tile ceiling, it really starts to flow with character. Minigame ideas are also flowing over at the 20 Fails area, where the western theme is taking shape along a central main road, flanked on either side by new ways for randomizers to clown on you. Stress designs a hopping over ice arrows in face game and the slightly more catchy titled Ender Escape, where being quick on the draw with an Ender Pearl is the only thing that will prevent you from being dropped on the floor or crushed between the saloon doors.
I'm trying to gauge when it comes out. Hang on.
Oh!
Yes! Oh, stop!
No, you didn't do it!
Iskal's contributions are a treacherous trapdoor run and a one-shot game with a moving target, both of which Stress helps him playtest. He's still getting his bearings back on the server, and sooner or later, he figures out why everyone sounds like they're calling American football plays when directing him through the Nether Hub.
They say things like yellow 17 or blue 2, and I've like given up there. I haven't asked more what these combinations of things actually means, but it is referring to the color of the Nether Hub.
He hasn't been a slouch at his cave base either, turning the dripstone corner of it into a series of shelves, where he carves out a workshop and moves in some stonemasons, who promptly move out again, but that was kind of his idea anyway. With them taking care of themselves, more or less, Iskal returns to his own unfinished business, tracking down whoever was last in possession of the Dare Stick. For the record, no one dared Ijevin to gather 46,000 endstone, but still he did, hoping the shulkers in his Tesseract shulker box farm feel more at home for the brief 5 seconds they're still alive. Jevin covers the entire island around the magic box-giving box in endstone, with occasional artistic outcroppings of amethyst buds and glass-layered purple lakes. You know, just like the actual end isn't.
So I added a bunch of stuff up here as well. This is our pool. So just continue the overall pattern.
Still, we have to grant Jev some artistic liberty, since he wants the place to actually look nice and not just float there dreadfully empty, cough cough Mojang end update when. In the meantime, Hypnotize takes the sledge shovel to the regular overworld terrain in an effort to make his cylinder base look less like a chunk error. Leveling the many places of the hill he ground into where his base is supposed to be, and then also shredding a big part of the forest nearby, which seems sort of unnecessary. On the upside, whatever he puts in its place will probably be pretty amazing.
You just give me both swords. Ha ha! The oldest trick in the book.
It's okay, I've got this one.
Oh no!
In contrast, Gemini Tay applies the violence not to the terrain, but to her server mates. With so many people coming back to play on the server, it is a golden opportunity to fill out her head collection. A wooden opportunity even, just like the swords she's using. No surprise we see her pop up in a few people's videos, then whittle them down in a fair duel.
How experienced are you in PvP?
Very, not so much.
Okay.
That is until Impulse SV pops up at her place, more or less literally, as in from under the ground. After this long, the two hermits finally reach the point their bases have been moving towards this entire time. One has at last dug into another. Which is no wonder, given that in places, Impulse's Dwarven Palace is literally 2 blocks from Elven Town's grass level. For her part, Gemini Tay descends an elevator shaft down to the Dwarven Mines, and for his part, Impulse installs some custom sounds at the shoreline, adding the seaside ambience, even with atmospheric seagull sounds.
This brings everything to life. This makes me want to add so many details. We need more bird poop around if we're gonna have all these seagulls.
Bird poop, yes, please add bird poop everywhere.
Fortunately for Gem, Impulse also prevented more holes from appearing in her base. And she's equally lucky he didn't feel the need to put up hot guy posters, install a multi-screen gaming rig, and hide a secret bedroom connected to a wall alcove, all of which he did at his Scarland handyman's office.
But yeah, I used to be a drummer in like high school and stuff, and did drum corps for a while, and I still tinker around a little bit on drum set here and there on some streams.
This week, Azuma Void comes back to battling his personal vendetta, the Minecraft inventory management issues. In his quest for solving the Shulkerbox to chest monster mess once and for all, X tracks down a mod that makes the server send in a bit more data about any given Shulkerbox so that an optional client-side resource pack can display a block over it to signify what's inside.
And what's really cool about this is it doesn't affect anyone who doesn't want to use this. It's not going to change the vanilla experience for any other players in the slightest.
The trick is, Azuma's own deep storage is very chest-based, so to incorporate his new way of storing, he will have to redesign not just his auto-sorter, but even the Mizuma game's original storage unit to where it fits the on-server surroundings.
And again, look at this, you don't even need to think about where the material is. You don't have to remember what color is assigned to what thing, because you can see it directly in front of you.
Naturally, this workload is enough even for a creative single player, where it remains for now, until X is completely sure he's got this thing doing everything but the dishes. If you missed the inaugural playthrough of Azuma's Tunnel Rats game last week, check out Impulse SV and Vintage Beef's perspective this week, if only because it might take Azuma a little while to reset the game for a second playthrough. In the meantime, Beef has been working some more on his own game, adding the cosmetic tweaks that'll make the TCG Battle Royale island that much more memorable. He includes some fishing boats at the village port, some beachgoers building sandcastles, and his own much more sizable sandcastle on the neighbouring island, promising secrets below it if the participants are observant enough.
And then the back there is just a little tiny tower. I can't wait to hide some barrels in here. There's probably going to be 3 or 4 barrels on this little sandcastle island.
He also takes the time to sign up for XB Crafted's 3rd degree, which we'd like to gently remind any other hermits watching to do, since the game could use a few more participants. And finally, at last, we gotta talk about Zombie Cleo's Blood on the Clock Tower, aka Among Us Big Brain Edition. Over the last couple of weeks, Cleo's been toiling away at recreating and hosting the Blood on the Clock Tower card game within the Hermitcraft Minecraft server, and now these efforts have finally come home to roost.
Are you evil or are you good?
Chicken.
For the uninitiated, Blood on the Clock Tower is a game where each player bar the Game Master is assigned a certain role with their own abilities and responsibilities. One such role is the Demon, or in the case of Hermitcraft, the Imp, who has to eliminate all the peaceful characters. The locals, however, can thwart their plans by holding a vote and killing them first. The twist is that no one knows who anyone is, no one trusts anyone, and also a character can get poisoned, meaning their powers don't work like they're supposed to. And with hermits being the personalities that they are, there's plenty of extra nuance to go around. Truly, this is a battle of wits, slams, and attention spans.
Iskal has said so many things I can't keep track of, and that makes me highly suspicious.
The one round the Hermits have held resulted in multiple 90-minute long videos that are simply too in-depth to meaningfully recap. But for a quick watch guide, we recommend you check out XP Crafted's video for a more immersive and mysterious experience, Impulse SV's one because, well, you'll see, and then Zombie Cleo's one for the fullest and arguably the funniest perspective, as they are the one running the game, which yes is potentially 3 hours of content. It was never our goal to make you watch less Hermitcraft. And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is Pixel. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.